Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all you netball lovers, welcome to the Netball South Africa podcast. It's been a while and we are indeed back. TNL has kept us on our feet. It's been very exciting looking at what happened during Power Week 1. And you will understand why I am referring to Power Week 1 of the Telkom Netball League. We've got a phenomenal guest in studio today. I never have a notebook, but I feel like today I needed to have a notebook just so that, but I think I'm going to miss some parts of her career. But it's 2 pages long, but I'll try and just summarize on the stuff that she has done. Well, a lot of you may know her as a coach, but she is a former player. She played for the national team as well. She got to captain the Spa Proteas. I'll find out if the time she captained, were they the Spa Proteas at the time or were they just the Proteas? But she is a coach. She's been a part of the national team, looking at coaching the under-21s, the senior team, as well as Fast 5. She's got a PhD in sports science. She is very analytical, just looking at how she coaches. I think we'll get to find out how she uses all of that, just to get her where she is, because she is quite a colorful or decorated coach, if I may put it that way. And I am talking about Dr. Alshay Yordan. Coach,
hi,
welcome.
Karabo.
How are
Thank
you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for making the time. It's really an honor.
Oh, no.
As a former journalist, well, I don't want to say former, but I'm still a journalist,
Yes.
and someone that has a passion for women's sports. So you're one of those women in sports that are really passionate about sports. We're going to focus on netball, but I know your passion goes beyond netball, especially development. What is it about development before we go to you and your journey as a player and transitioning into being a coach?
I think, my heartbeat is high performance coaching. I absolutely love that. But being a high performance coach and studied to the highest level, understanding talent identification so well, I know what's needed on the development phase of it to develop at the end players so that we can deliver them to the high performance system. And without that, the high performance system will not be able to exist. And sometimes I think we misunderstand the pathways and how the pathways should run actually next to one another. And then at the time, you will switch lanes literally as a player, as a coach, as an administrator, whatever the case might be. But I often think we confuse the lanes and then we get caught up. And in that being caught up in we don't know which way to go, you can easily get stuck. But that's my love. And so as a job, I do development, and as a love and as passion, I coach at a high performance level. And it's been a privilege. They say if you do what you love, you don't work one day in your life. And that's been true for me.
Yeah, I can tell with this list.
Yes.
I can definitely tell. Coach, let's take it back. You were 6 years old when you were introduced to the sport, and it was by chance. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's actually a very funny story. My mom and dad's been in teaching, and my dad was a deputy principal, and we were in Lichtenburg, and they needed one player for the under 9B team. Those days there weren't mini netball, so we only started at under 9 level, and I was grade 1, and being a tall player, I didn't probably look grade 1.
Yeah.
And one day I was walking with my dad on this, at the school, and the teacher saw me and she says, "Come fill in a position." And I started off as a center when I was 6 for the under 9B team. I must still hold the record for the player that played under 9 the longest time, 3-4 years. At one stage, I actually approached my dad and said, "Listen, what are you doing? Are you cooking the ID book of this player? Why is she still stuck at under 9? Yeah. But yes, that's where I fell in love with it. I actually swam when I was young. I was a swimmer. I loved swimming, but I love team sport. I love the dynamics of that. And here I am still in team sports and still in netball.
You mentioned you were a swimmer. being a part of individual sports, how did that come as an advantage in a team sport for you? Did it?
Yes, I think to be in an individual sport, it's really tough because it's only you. You have to be very disciplined. You need to put in the hours on your own. Although you are with other swimmers, you are actually competing with them all the time. And the sacrifices is the same as within team sports. But I think that resilience, I learned that from swimming and the hard work, and that if you want to make it, you need to make it. You need to do it for yourself, although you're in a team. And it's just easier when you share the load with your teammates. And that's why when I made the switch, it was a good switch. But now I love swimming. I still love till today swimming. If you ask me now, go run a kilometer or swim a kilometer, I still choose swimming. But I loved swimming. And I think I was right that my build is great for a swimmer. I'm tall, and that helped also a lot. But at the end, netball was my choice.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Let's chat about your journey then and how you made it as a national team player, getting that first cap. How was that? Was it a difficult journey for you?
Oh, a journey like that is always filled with a lot of disappointments, but it's how you deal with that, and those disappointments make you stronger. My journey was, I never played SA schools. Funny enough, I made the trial group, and that day I'll never forget. That was probably my biggest disappointment because I always made the provincial teams, and then I was selected to go trial for the SA schools team. And I always thought, if you want to be a Protea one day, this is the boxes you have to tick. And I didn't make that team, and my heart was broken, and I thought this is the end for me. And then I went to university, and to Potch University, Northwest, now Northwest. It was then Picker. And I went there on a small bursary because I wasn't a SA schools player. But I started working, and I was blessed with great coaching when I was at the university. And then I made the under-21 team. That was my first time I represented my country as an under-21 player. Went to Namibia. We played there in the Cooksa Games. And I was then named player of the tournament. And I think that just kick-started my whole career. Year after that, I was the first full-time student for Potch University to play for the Proteas.
Wow.
Oh, wow. And that was just such a moment, as a player, to earn the crown Protea, to wear that and know that you've earned it and you've mastered the skill of that sport, to be the best in that position. It was magical. And my first test was in England, in Manchester. I'll never forget that. So, that was a big highlight, and from there on, I worked really hard. There were some great players. So the youngsters come in and you start on the bench, and the bench is never a good place to be, but you keep being motivated to work harder. And I've been in the team for a while, and then I think in 2002 I was named the captain, which was for me, it was very fulfilling to lead my country. What an honor to a World Cup in Jamaica. It was just like a dream come true. But it didn't. It was tough those days. My mum fell very ill, and she was very sick. And it was that thing of, do I play or do I stay? And at the end, I just played because that's what she wanted me to do. And 88 international tests for games for South Africa, and then my mum passed away. And then it's not like you lost your reason to play, but you're growing up and you're starting a career, and being a woman in sport, it's not professional. And you need to grow up sometimes. You can't just carry on studying. I think that's why I have a PhD, because the longer I studied, the better I could play. And then I stopped. But I look back on a playing career of absolute grace. I've never had big injuries, and made the best of friends. Lana Krieger was the vice captain when I was captain. We shared rooms. We're still friends up till today. She's still in netball. So at the end of the day, you remember your good friends. You forget the scores of all the tests, all the games, but you never forget the people that shared the journey with you.
Oh, true.
And it's not only players, parents and supporters, and coaches. I've had good coaches, good role models that I could learn from.
How would you stay motivated? You mentioned how it's not nice, sitting on the bench, and there's a match, you're not in the starting lineup, and match continues, and you feel I can make a difference in that match, but you're not called up, you're not put in. How do you motivate yourself so that you get selected in your next match?
Yeah, for me, it's always about a burning desire. At that day, if that coach don't prefer your play, then that's her choice. But that doesn't define me. And I always say that to people, netball is not who I am. Netball is just what I do. And you can never allow that to define who you as a person are. So you have to be happy for the players that's out there on court, support them the way that you would love them to support you. Although I don't think if you're a good bench player, then it's dangerous red lights flashing.
Yeah.
But you should be good for the team. You should never be happy to be on the bench. And that just, funny enough, for me, the resilience always was to work harder. That's the only thing that I knew to do, is to work harder and to prove my worth and to show what I can do when I do get the opportunity. So if you have that burning desire to do that, the work comes, and then the iron will to say, but you're not going to decide for me. I don't allow that circumstances define me. I try to live my life according to my values, and and then make my decisions according to that, and whatever comes my way. And if it doesn't, then that must also be God's will, that He's maybe protecting me from something, or He's preparing me for something bigger. And it's always not easy to do it and have that approach, but when you get older, you understand it even better. But I was blessed. I was really blessed with great support and people that kept motivating me to keep doing what I really love.
Yeah, because you sound so like, if it's a situation, you accept it and you look at the bigger picture, or you're a realistic person, where, it's not happening right now and it's the coach's choice, if they want to put me in or not. It says a lot about, the support structure as well, but self-motivation, what keeps you going? What kept you inspired at the time?
As a player, I think I dream to play for your country. Because, like I say, as an athlete, that is the ultimate, to represent your country. Sadly, we're not an Olympic Games sport yet. Obviously, that's the ultimate, to go to Olympic Games. Our biggest next one, closer to doing it with other coaches, is a Commonwealth Games. And then obviously a World Cup, which is the ultimate in your sport. That's the highest. And as a player, you want to go measure yourself against the best in the world. So at the beginning of your career, it's always about making the team. And then as you're becoming a more senior player in the setup, it becomes a journey of, but how do I measure against the rest of the world? So there's always the next level, and that makes the pathway, or the path, very much a personal and an individual path, because in a team sport, you can only be as good as the players around you. But you can bring the best you to that team and to that situation. And I hope that's what I've done, as looking back over my career. That's that when I was there and I had the opportunity to make a difference or to contribute, I did that.
What would you say is your greatest highlight when you think of your playing career?
Oh, wow, that's tough, but I think ultimately the first time I represented my country, to put up that dress, to be in that dressing room and to put on that green and gold dress. It's something that if you haven't done it, you can't explain it to somebody. And then to walk out and then to stand there and sing the national anthem for the first time, who you represent, who you are. I always say, you play for the badge on your chest, and you play for the bib, the position, that's your job. But ultimately, your surname is on the back of your dress, and you play for your family.
Oh man!
So that's been absolutely fantastic. To be a captain at a World Cup, that's been great. And then my whole journey has actually been quite a highlight. But if I have to single out two moments, it's probably those two.
Yeah. And which player did you just not like playing against?
Oh, well, when I played, Liz Ellis was captain of Australia, goalkeeper. She was such a complete player. the tough to play against. His skill was just next level. Then Wilhelmina Davu was playing from New Zealand. Oh, she was a block of a human and fast and strong.
Man.
So different challenges, but if I have to single out one, it's probably Alice. And it's a good one. It's out of respect as well. So that's out of opposition point. And then as a player that I admired playing the same position than me is probably Vicky Wilson.
Man.
Yeah, at that time, I think she was the complete shooter. Although I was a goal attack, but I love the circle and what she's done in a circle, what she managed to do in a circle was just magic.
Sure. And you then deciding, I'm just hanging up my bib now. Was it a difficult decision for you to make, or was it a process that built up and you were at peace when you made that decision?
Funny enough, I always knew that I'm just going to know when it's time to go.
Okay.
I just knew it. I didn't know how it's going to be and how it's going to happen. It probably happened too early. I could have still played. But it actually happened in a very funny way. I studied and I started working and you become a professional. I study sports. I understand sports better. Now you deal with different levels of coaches and, then coaches can sometimes, make remarks and then you think, seriously, did she just say that? And then I knew, listen, if that's the point that I'm coming as a player now to start thinking more than a coach. And then one day it was at a national championship. I'll never forget it. I woke up and I knew it's done. I just had that feeling that it's time. It's time for me to go. And I actually found my brother. I said, listen, I'm going to withdraw from the team. You must come and fetch me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, my mom just passed away. So I was probably also not emotionally in the best place to be. And I always promised myself, once I walk away as a player, I'm never going to play again. I don't want to be called into a Legends team or don't invite me.
You've never participated in those?
Since that day when I found my brother and say, come fetch me, I'm done. I've never put back a foot on a netball court.
What?
I shoot. I love to shoot. I have shooting competitions with my players. By the way, I still beat them.
Nice.
So I shoot, but I've never played the game ever again. And that was just a promise I made to myself because I want to remember it. When I would play the game, when I was truly on top of my game, I was fit and I could do the things. I didn't never want to play now and feel like a fool, because the game has evolved so much.
Yeah.
And I think I live my passion through coaching now. I don't need to play because I coach.
So are you one of those coaches that never get that feeling of, hey, I can do it myself, because coaches sometimes feel like, I wish I can just go in and just show the girls how to do it.
Yeah, no, I don't do that. I will sometimes in the circle get in there and tell a shooter, turn your body like this or do that, but I never show. I don't believe in that. And I also don't believe in you should do it like I did it. I hate that. I hated that as a player. And I hated it when a coach got in there and tried to show and then it looks like, seriously, is this what you want me to do? So it's funny, you just happened as a coach and it's probably stuff that I carries over from a player. But no, I try not to do that because I can't. I can't do what these young players these days do. And like I say, the game is powerful now and the players are fit and strong and no, I won't. I respect the athletes that I work with too much that I will get on that court.
So you being a former player, you're more understanding on what your players go through or might be going through from your experience as well as a player. So when they come up with certain aspects of the game, you understand where they come from.
I would like to think so. I also know, I told them the other day, I know all their tricks. I've been there. I don't know why it is. Defenders, their shoelaces always goes loose. When the training gets tough, they tired. Coach, I need to tie my shoelaces. We all know they're just resting, But anyway, so I like to know that. But I also think you can't lead a team where you yourself haven't been. I'm a firm believer of that. And being able as a player to play in the ultimate team, which is the Spar Proteas, and I've put on that dress, and I respect that dress so much. I love that team with all my heart because I represented that team. You understand when a player sits in a change room and they have to put on their dress. You understand what it means. And you understand it on a deeper level. It's something that people can't teach you or to talk you through it, because you have to put it on and then realize the magnitude of the responsibility when you walk out on this court. People use the words, "Oh, you're representing the nation." You know, that's really cheap talk if you haven't done it, but it's really true. You represent the dreams of every young little girl who watch you play. That's a massive responsibility. And as a coach now, I believe being able to be a former captain and a former Spar Protea, I do understand that. And I share that passion with players, and I see that passion in players. It's it's like a worm that eats on your stomach. You just want to get better and more.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a drug. I think that's how it must be when
Yes.
you're on drugs. But yes, I think that makes me a better coach.
Let's talk about the transition now. You made the decision. How long did it take you then to find, a team to coach?
I was actually very quickly absorbed. I started my coaching career coaching for Ekurhuleni because I was working in Boksburg at a school. And I started coaching the under-21 teams of Ekurhuleni. And I am so grateful that I started there, because I had to coach. I was not, we didn't have the luxury, and Ekurhuleni still don't have the luxury of having a tertiary institution feeding quality players into a system. So you have to deal with players that comes from the community. And you have to be able to coach. You actually have to be able to have the skill to work with these players, to develop them and make them better. And if I look back on my career, there was times and I thought, I know I have so much talent as a coach, but you also need material to work with. And then I watched coaches coaching these teams with all these talents. And then I thought, I wonder what I would do if I have a team with so much talent, you know. But I'm so happy that I started there, because it forced me to become a student of the game. I started to study the game more. I understood it as a player, but now I'm a coach. So I had to make a study of the game, and I become a true student of the game. And up till today, that's what I still am. I study, and I consider myself as a student of the game, and you will never fully understand it. But I do invest a lot in my own development as a coach. And it all started, my journey started at Ekurhuleni, and I've been there for a couple of 2 or 3 years, and I actually won my first gold medal under 21s with the Ekurhuleni team. Yeah, so it's been a fantastic journey.
How hard is it to work with players that, like you say, they're not from a university or high performance center? How difficult is that? Because there at first you're just looking at if the talent is there, and then you work with the player.
I don't want to say I'm arrogant like that, but I trust myself that I can coach.
Yeah.
And I often say you don't need all this fancy stuff. If you have the will, and you have the hunger, and you have the openness to be coached and learn, and if you have a good coach, you can work with anybody, even with limited resources, but you have to work. It takes a lot of hard work. Yes, our high performance system is fantastic, and it's much better, and it makes it so much easier as a coach. You have so much support. But ultimately, if you strip it down, netball is about passing, catching, and movement. And if you can coach those 3 things, you can be anywhere. And you just need a ball and a flat surface, and there you can go.
How does having a PhD in sports science just puts you at an even better advantage as a coach?
I think it helped me to study, to understand how to really be analytical about stuff, because doing a PhD, you know a lot about a little bit of information. So you need to be able to dissect and to understand what is important and what is not. But I also, as a coach, and up till today, I coach like that. I am not an opinion-based coach. I don't follow the flavor of the month. So this is now Coach X, and she's now the big coach and the name, and she says, do it like this. I just don't follow that. I like to find reasons why we are doing certain things, because just for me, in my brain, it needs to make sense. Because if I need to be able to coach another person and educate them and teach them to understand, to become smarter in what they do, I need to understand it. And it can't be just these sweeping statements. That's probably the one thing that I hate of coaching. There's sweeping statements, and it becomes a bit of a fashion thing. Whilst it should be more based on numbers and measurable things. Because if you want to make something better, you need to be able to measure it. And if you can see it, you can measure it, you can make it better.
And Fast Five, it's a different format as well. As a coach, what mindset now do you go into that team with?
Look, it's very exciting. I think you must be very strategic, and because you need to make the strategic calls at the right time. But funny enough, I don't love coaching fast.
Really?
No, I don't. I'm more of a traditionalist. I love the formal game. I think it's like being in cricket, having T20s and having the 5-day. But I loved my stint with the Fast 5 team. I've learned a lot. I've learned timing as a coach, because timing on changes is so important. And Fast 5 taught me that, to make the changes at the right times, to think out of the box, because you have lesser players. I loved the fact that there's so much space, because you only have 5 players on the same size court. But it's very vibrant and very exciting, and I think for a spectator, it's just a fantastic game to watch.
Let's take it back to the Netball Grand Series. What was your involvement there?
I love doing business. I actually think I'm like a project manager. And I think it comes in with having good vision. And I dream a lot. In my business, I'll phone my business partner and I'll share an idea. And I say, we're going to get millionaires from this. This is the best idea that there is out there.
Yeah.
And she's very analytical, and then she'll just listen. And then I can just hear the excitement is not the same. And then I thought maybe I should spend more time on this idea. So sometimes, it just breaks my heart, because I really thought that's a good idea. But anyways, I love doing business, and I wanted to make a difference in netball. I wanted to change the landscape for players, for coaches, for umpires, for everybody. And I came up with the idea of the Netball Grand Series, and it was the front runner of what the TNL is now. It was built on a franchise system, different than what it is currently. But I would hope to think it was tough to do it. There was a lot of heartache in that, doing it. I learned a great amount of lessons out of a business perspective. But I hope that it opened up the doors for other competitions to start for netball. But it's been tough. It's been a tough thing to do, but I loved it. Out of a business perspective, doing business side of netball.
It was huge, no?
It was. We played right across the country. We visited cities. Very much how the TNL started. It was. It was a good thing. I think it was. I still have documents that I wrote, all the dreams that I wrote down, policies that I've designed. I spent so much hours on building that thing. And the beautiful thing is I've met fantastic business people, and that shaped my business mind in such a way that it enabled me then to start up Sportissimo, which is now this year 22 years old.
What?
And we've been doing some fantastic work in Sportissimo. And if it wasn't for that and me meeting great business people, I don't know where we would have been today.
Let's talk about Sportissimo. What is it about? Because I know there it's about development and it's not netball only.
Yes. It started off as it's a sports consultancy, well, based on coaching. But I'm a firm believer that any athlete is first their heart and their minds, and then their bodies. The body follow wherever the heart and the mind takes you. So I then joined hands with, which in today's terminology is referred to leadership guru. And me and Minette started Sportissimo 22 years ago, where I do the physical coaching side and she comes and do the mind and the heart work. She also then obviously the leadership side of the development. And yeah, that's what we do. We started as netball. We coach a lot schools, focusing on schools. And then the recipe worked so well, and people started to say, "But why are you only doing this for netball?" And we expanded to hockey. Yeah. We bring in specialist hockey coaches. We build it on the same recipe. Both myself and Minette works with coaches there. The hockey coaches come in to provide a specialist in hockey coaching. We've done athletics now. We've done rugby. We are expanding every day where we do this. And then about 3 years ago, we started a product which we called All About Coaches. So we've done All About Coaches netball, All About Coaches minis, hockey, rugby, where we empower coaches, where I think there's a huge, huge need for. I know when I was a young coach, you wanted to learn from somebody and you want to go somewhere. There was just nowhere to go. And still even today, it's so tough to find resources to help you as a coach. And that's now where our focus is very much now on that journey. I then was invited last year. Pep actually approached us, and I wrote a manual for mini netball, and I actually built a platform, a video and a platform where coaches can now get access to find drills only on minis for now. The dream is to expand it. So maybe between 3 and 4 in the mornings, I'll start doing that. But the lovely thing about the minis is, for me, being high performance, knowing what a high performance player needs, now to work with the minis and make sure that you build in the correct things. Oh, it's been such a fulfilling journey. And what really excites me about this is that Pep recognized the need to invest in coaches. Yeah. We never invest in coaches, although coaches is your long-term investment. They are the ones that's staying and working with players. Players will always come and go. Yeah. But the coaches are the ones that's staying there, and they're actually the spine of the team. And I think they've got something special. And what I like about it, nobody even talk about mini netball. Yeah. Nobody think about the mini coaches. You know, we put either the coaches that's at the end of their career there, or the young ones who's just starting, and now they're investing in them. And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's a really great initiative that you've started, because you know that it's quality coaching from a young age. Yes. You know, so when the kids start adapting to the style of play, they already started from a young age, and they're not developing when they're much older.
100%. And you know, as it goes, gross motor development can only happen up till a certain age. And that is about at 11, you almost lose your ability to learn new gross motor skills. So if it goes wrong there, you are actually set up to fail. Yeah, true. So that is such an important age group to work with. Yeah, and it's been fun. It's been really fun with them.
I can tell it's written all over your face. Yes. I feel like you've got more than 24 hours in a day. How do you do it? You just mentioned 3 or 4 a.m. and some of us are really fast asleep at that time.
Yeah, no, I'm joking about I love sleeping, don't worry. You know, I don't know. It's like I really enjoy what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing, and I get my energy from people. I love people. I love the interaction with people. I love netball. I really do. I care for the game a great deal, and it's important for me that the people that gets in touch with me sees the game for how great it is through my eyes. I'll always be the naive young player who wants to play and represent my country and wants the best for the game. And when I coach and when I walk out now at the TNL with the Fireballs, I always think about, and I watch those players warm up. The first thing that goes through my mind is how many coaches played a part in their journey to bring them up to this level. And I feel that responsibility to continue their work and to do good to them as well. It's almost like at the end of a matric exam, you say, oh, they've got so many distinctions and these were the teachers. But nobody ever says this was the grade 1 teacher who taught this player how to write and read. Or player, learner. And for me, it's the same. I think we often miss the great roles that great humans play in the development path of people. Even in my own story, there's so many. I've been blessed with so many great role models in my life, and I think I find my energy in that, and I love being busy. I hated to sit at home and have nothing to do. And like I said, Sportissimo feels me a lot. I love what I do there to give back, to work and to share my knowledge, because I don't think knowledge is something that you should keep for yourself. I think you should share it with the world if you have it. If the world wants it, then you can share it. And my true passion is high performance coaching. I love that. And to be involved in high performance coaching, I actually feel that where I'm now, I'm actually quite comfortable in my skin as a coach. You learn. You have to learn what it is that you want, what it is that you look for. And then you get comfortable in your decision making, because you spend a lot of hours on that hot seat.
Yeah.
And it prepares you for where I'm now. And I think I'm now entering my best years as a coach. I feel like that. I feel confident in myself. I'm excited about the journey, and it's just grace, the grace of God. I've been sick, really ill in 2019.
Yeah.
I've been in hospital for months. I had 2 major surgeries.
Sure.
And once something like that happened to you, you realize, but it's like this, then life changes. And I promised myself then, if I do get a second chance, which I did, God gave me a second chance, I will live it to the fullest.
Thank God.
I'm trying. Well, I'm sure there was something He still wants me to do, and that's why He healed me and gave me the doctors that could heal me. And it's been great.
No, Coach, we're grateful, that you're still here, because we are seeing a difference in the growth of netball, looking at, how you're just so impactful in a player's life. For example, just looking at the past 3 years with Wits, Wits has Varsity Cup. They've been, a team to look out for. Let's chat about, how you worked with Wits. It wasn't that powerful before, and you came in and things have just taken a different turn.
Yeah, I think I entered at a time in my career where I don't coach anymore for positions. If you don't take me, I think it's your loss. That's just my approach at the moment.
Yeah.
And then I took on the Wits job, because that's the challenge now, is to say they've started with netball and Marguerite Ruetman before me. She did some good work there, and she asked me, will I continue with what she's done? And we started a whole high performance program. Vinolia, that's now manager of the Proteas, we work so well together. And we qualified for Varsity Cup. And I'm now with a squad where 4 of my players is in the SA under 21 squad. And as a coach, to accomplish that in 3 years, the players are working hard. They bought into the idea of Wits. It's a small program. We're never going to have the numbers that the major universities have. Our program just don't have the funding for that. But we are dynamite, and we're agile, and we can move. And that excites me a lot.
It's a big year for the under-21s. You've played for the under-21s. You coached the under-21s. Unfortunately, you could not, lead them as a coach to the Africa qualifiers. But it's a big year, and I know you're passionate about development. How are we doing, just looking at the under-21s as they're preparing for Gibraltar? They're competing in the TNL. You got to play against them.
Yes.
How was that?
Yeah, I think when I coached the under-21s, COVID happened. That was probably one of the toughest things I've ever had to do, is walk into a change room to tell a group of players, listen, we're not going to a World Cup. It was heartbreaking, the tears, and I flew in Manette and said, "Come, you have to come and help me. We need to do something to these girls." They were 10 babies in my eyes. The fulfilling side is when I watch them now, 9 of them is in the Protea group. 9 of that 12 players is now Proteas, and as a coach, it just says the talent identification that we've done. I'm so proud of that, although we never went to that World Cup. But now looking at them, I think it's great for them to get the exposure in the TNL. It's important for them. I would, however, like to see that they try to win games.
Yes.
Because I thought a few times they were in a position to win, and then they didn't close the game. And that's what people don't understand. Players need to learn how to close games. They need to learn how to close, finish, and win. And I get that the motivation and the focus is now different because they must make decisions. But I would like to see in the second leg that the coaches now must have been able to see what they wanted to see, and now the focus should start going to teach them how to close games because they can. They've been there. They've played some really good netball. So yeah, I'm very excited to see where they go. It's a lovely age group to work with. They are hungry to learn and they are open to learn. They don't have bad habits yet. You know, where I coach, there's a lot of bad habits that needs to be fixed. So it's a fulfilling age group to work with.
Let's chat the Fireballs. Last year you got to the finals and just lost it at the end there. This year, Power Week 1, have not lost a match. You're standing right there on top. How was Power Week 1 for you and the team?
Oh, I love the week. It was a focused week. It was a week of netball, just focusing on netball. It was hard. We played 8 games in 7 days. We had some tired bodies. That our last game against the Flames. I thought at one stage, I told Bunga, I don't think they have it in their legs to play another 15 when it came to that last 15. But for us, it was all about us. It was focusing on our units and on our combinations and to figure that out. For us as coaches to see who can start, who can swap in, who's the impact players, who's our bomb squad, if you want to call it like that. Which players open us that gives us that abilities. Second Power Week now, obviously you're flying blind going into the first Power Week. Now we have footage. Now we know what we're up against. And now the focus will shift a little bit from only us also to preparing who we're up against. But Power Week 1 is important that you have a good lock position because it releases a lot of pressure going into the second Power Week for a semi-final spot. But it's only Power Week 1 and it's only about that. So we don't get ahead of ourselves. And like you say, I mean, we've topped the lock since 2022. 23 we topped the lock, 24 we topped the lock, and 23 and 24 we came short in the semi-final by 1 and 2 goals with reasons that I can explain, and it makes sense now. But this hindsight is a perfect science, and hopefully now in year 3 we will get it right. You don't enter this competition not to win it, but we don't even look at the championship at this stage. We're just taking it game for game, working really hard. We had a tough training last night, figuring things out. I loved it. I started with this group in 22 when they were babies, Sammy, Talay. I told him last night they were all first years. And now they're the seniors in the team. And it's really great to see how they're fulfilling those leadership roles and how they're becoming really, really in charge of their units. And it's great to see their growth. And as a coach, there's nothing more fulfilling than that. So I love the journey. Bongi joined me this year on the bench. I loved it. We had our connection is deeper than just netball. We've had a fantastic captain-player relationship when she was our captain. And now to carry it over into a coaching environment is fantastic. And the reason why it works so well is that our values align and we coach according to that. Obviously, she's got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience, and she's a good coach. She still has lots to learn. And that's, I think, what I respect about her so much is that she defines her own journey and she wants her coaching journey to be her coaching journey. And I love the fact that she's ticking the boxes, learning, spending time on the hot seats. And I hope in this journey of hers, as when she was a player, that I can contribute and add value to her because she will become one of the best coaches that we deliver one day. When she's ready and when she's ready to take on the next step in her coaching career, I'll be the one supporting her first.
We love when, women are supporting one another and when it's genuine. It's just so beautiful. There was an introduction of the super shot in this year's TNL. It's bringing some excitement. People are following it. And Sammy is actually on top there with those 9 super shots. How do you feel about that introduction? I know that sometimes when you look at Fast Five or watch Fast Five, you're like, we can see that, there's that missing element that we don't play Fast Five at home. But this introduction of the super shot, what are your thoughts on it?
Oh, I think it's exciting. I think it's good for the game. I think it's good for the competition. I would, however, like to see that it goes to both teams in every quarter, because then it becomes a coaching tool. I love coaching tools that I can use. 2 minutes is great to have, but we haven't seen the 2 minute played such a big role in the outcome of games. In our last game, when Sammy shot that 4, it managed for us to close that gap.
Yes.
So that was probably in our journeys thus far the only game that it really played a big part. But if it can become both quarters to both teams 2 minutes, then it becomes a different story, because you will see new energy, you will see urgency. Only criticism I have against it, but I think it's fantastic. And for us with Sammy, and we've got Luanay can take those shots as well. I mean, Tsiki's been shooting.
Yes.
I told her, listen, you're on the edge there of that. And to get these shooters to man up and to take that responsibility. But what I love about Sammy being on top of the lock is that she is the senior partner in that circle. And that she's taking those shots and she's leading by example. And that's what you want from your senior players. And when she shot that 4, it was special.
Yeah. The Fireballs are one of the favorites. Building up to Power Week 2, what would you like to say to the supporters? For example, I saw Genevieve actually left Joburg and came to Sun City to support the Fireballs. So there's huge support. What would you like to say to those fans?
Well, first of all, one of the fans actually sent me a message to say that if you want to be a Fireball supporter, you have to have a medical aid because it's dangerous for your health. So first I want to apologize that they're putting their health through risk. And then secondly, I want to thank them. Our Fireball supporters is not that vocal on social media, and I love that. But they're very vocal on how they support us when they see us, and we've got a great following. And thank you for doing that. Please keep following us and keep the trust. And we hope that we will play the netball that you enjoy watching. We are working hard for that, and we hope that we will make you proud with every game.
What more would you still like to achieve?
Look, I was appointed as the Protea coach, but I've never got the opportunity to coach the team. And that will probably be ultimate to still be able to be involved on an international setup, to see where my skills go. But it is what it is, At the moment, maybe I've got actually contact from 2 other countries looking at some of the stuff that I've been doing. I don't know. I just love coaching. I don't have these massive goals and dreams that I want to achieve anymore. What I want to do is to coach high performance as long as I can, contribute as long as I can, and I hope I can positively influence players so that they don't become only better players, but that they will be great human beings. That I can walk away one day and say that I've added value to a lot of people's lives. And now Monique, that's been our captain last year, she's becoming a mum in one of these days. And when they phone me and they share news like that, and they still call me coach, that is the ultimate for me. So, to win a title, and we've done 3 national championships in a row, SPA championships in a row now. It's great. It's fantastic. We won a TNL, which was a massive highlight. But we spoke about that feeling lasts for 15 seconds. And then it's like, okay, box ticked, what now? But what's truly mattering is the seconds before that 15 starts and the second 16 after that 15 seconds. What is your influence then? And how long will it last? And I hope that God will grace me the opportunity to keep doing that, because that's what I love.
Yeah. Oh, we hope so too, because you've really been, a fantastic coach. We see the work you've put in and we appreciate it. I think from my side as well is thank you for also just investing in the development of coaches and not just the players. And I just wish you an even more colorful journey because I see the passion is still in your eyes. But thank you, most importantly, for making the time and just opening up so that we get to know more about who Dr. Elsha Jordan is. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you, Karabo. It's been a real honor. And lastly, let me thank Netball South Africa for allowing me to live my dream through their platforms. If they don't do that for players, for coaches, for umpires, we won't be able to influence. So thank you for Netball South Africa. Thank you for the work that you do, and thank you for allowing people also to learn the person behind the face. Because sometimes you look at a face, but you don't know the story.
Yeah.
It's been lovely. Thank you.
Because we always have that competition face on, you know? So it's nice to see the relaxed side.
Yes.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you so much.
Yep, and that is how we come to the end of this edition of the Netball South Africa podcast. Until we do it again next time, have yourself a fantastic day.